For my third tale, I'm going to tell you all about St Nectans Glen. That's situated halfway between Tintagel and Boscastle. It's one of the most beautifulest walks I think you'll ever get on the North Cornwall coast. And when you drive into the car park, on the left hand side you'll see like a little grotto and running water. That was known as St Pryn's Well. In days of old, pilgrims would always baptise themselves there. When I say baptise, you know, just rub a bit of water over your forehead. Bathe yourself in a drop of that water. It's coming down from one of the springs. Lots of energy. Also, they had a chapel there. In fact, it's still there. And last time I was there, they were renovating of it, but it's going to be that you'll be able to go inside. Then you start to make your way up the glen. It's a beautiful walk, and the trees are like talking to you all the time. The leaves are rattling. It's just like big audience clapping after a big show. It's a way of greeting you to get you up the glen. Very mystical. The water is running on by. Sometimes you'll feel you're never going to get there. But in the end, you get up to the old hermitage. St Nectan was an old hermit, and he lived up there in this place. There was a tower and a bell there. That was to summon, if he needed help, he'd ring the bell and people would come up. But he didn't have to worry about too much. He was a very spiritual man. But there was one thing about St Nectan was, he always talked to the old religion, the old Druid ways, and he said, one day that will all come back again. This is one of the reasons why the pagan and Druid people come from all around the world. They really do, to St Nectans Glen. There's a wonderful waterfall. It comes down through the valley, cascades down over into a big basin. The time come that St Nectan passed away, and it was his wish to be buried, and his two sisters were in charge of the burial, the funeral arrangements. The water had to be diverted, so they got some labourers and they diverted the stream. They dug a grave, laid him in there with his ceremonial gear, and then they put a big flat stone over the top of the grave to secure that nothing could get washed out. And then they diverted the stream back over. All was well. The two sisters took on the hermitage. Once more people brought them food. They carried on the same as their brother did. They always said they used to see their brother in the waterfall. which I've heard many accounts of that anyhow. And then one of the sisters passed away. Then the next one passed away, and she was buried with her other sister with a big flat stone, because there was a lot of quarries around that way and they'd have no difficulty in getting a big piece of slate. So they were buried down there. Different owners have come over the past. Barry, how old do you think this place has been in existence?
Well, I believe that there's been a structure built on this site for at least 3,800 years. The lower stone walls now are the remains of an old 6th century chapel, but there's been a structure before that.
Barry, you've lived here for many years now.
Over 25 years, yep.
25 years. You've met many mystics, eccentric people. What's the most eccentric thing that anybody's ever asked you? Has anybody asked for some strange requests?
We had someone wrote about the in the visitors book that they'd taken 2 fairies from our down the waterfall because they had work for them to do at home, and a year later they brought them back because they'd finished their work and released them back into the glen again. You know.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Barry, when you've been down there, have you ever smelled like cigarette smoke, scent?
Oh yeah, yeah. Often you smell it, yeah.
That's a good sign that you got spiritual company then.
Yeah.
When you could be up here or going anywhere, and that could be real spiritual company.
You get a waft of scent, you know, sort of. Yeah. When you think. Yeah, there's this ghost of a girl called Cara Nan Curvis who died in 1690 here, and I just put it there. I say it's Cara. Yeah. We had a group down, went down the waterfall, and they came back and asked, had anyone gone down with a dog? And no one else had been down there, and they said, well, we didn't see anyone down there, but look, in our photographs, there's a dog. Looking at a terrier, and another chap, he came up very excited. He'd been filming with his mobile phone, and there was a woman in white down there. And actually, a lot of people have seen this, have seen the woman in white down there.
Yeah. Barry, you've been here a long time, you and Jean now. You must have had someone like poorly, crippled up maybe a bit. Have they ever gone down there and some miraculous cure?
Yes, we've had sort of, actually there's a big healing centre in the 12th century, but we had a chap went down, his family went down, and the chap came back up and he said, is there something in that water? And I said, what do you mean, sort of thing, you know. And he said, well, I've got arthritis in my hands. He said, and I bent down and just, I don't know what made me do it, he said, I've scooped some up, and they suddenly started burning. He said, they feel great now. So I said, well, yeah, people, it is, you know, sort of healing place. So he said, I'm going to come back tomorrow with my swimming trunks. He said, because I've got it in my legs as well. And he came back the next day, and he went down in, and when he came back up, I said to him, oh, how'd you get on? So he said, well, my right leg started burning, and that feels great now. He said, I didn't feel anything in my left leg. Anyway, they went off. Now, he comes back every year, and as he comes through the gate, I say to him, how's your legs? Brilliant, he says, brilliant. And we also had a young girl who was, I was telling someone about it, and she was sitting over in the corner, and she said, I'll tell you now, she said, I used to suffer terribly from psoriasis, and I tried all the creams and everything else, and nothing seemed to work. She said, and last year I came down here, and I heard all this, and I thought to myself, there's no one around, I'm going in. She said, and I went in, she said, and a week later, nothing. It all gone. All the psoriasis is gone.
Well, most probably what I think it is, Barry, is the ley lines are running through there, and it charged that spot up, and that's what makes it a bit special.
Yeah, because I mean we're on the cross of several ley lines here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Lots of people have talked about the cats shadow boxing. That's on. I understand this talk. That's only because there's a spirit around there. There's been many accounts of people walking up the glen and spoke to somebody and looked behind, nobody there. That's why I always speak to everybody, because I'm always thinking there might be a ghostly or angel-y figure amongst the group. I can remember going back there with a friend 6 or 7 years ago now. It was a January month. He'd had a lot of bad luck. He says, I'm going to take my clothes off and I'm going to baptise myself in the basin. It was freezing cold, believe you me. Anyhow, he's in there and he goes down under. And I thought, wow, it's so damn cold. Shall I ever go or not? But I did. I took off my clothes and I went out up to about here. And oh, it was cold. And I think I did duck underneath. But I quickly came out and dressed up. But neither one of us at that time didn't know the story about St Nectan was buried there in the well. It was mystical to him, and mystical to me. If you go back this present day, last time I was there, people that drove, got a stone and put pennies, 50p pieces, and it reminds me a bit like an alligator with all the money all around the tree stump. You find messages, little fairies. And you'll always find all that money lying around. I've seen it before over at the Blarney Stone. I've seen it at Wishing Wells and everywhere. Nobody would never touch the money. It's respect, absolutely. So there you are. That's St Nectans Glen. I'm sure that you'll all get a lot of pleasure when you go up there and see everything.
Postman turned up here and he said to me, I don't know what this parcel is, he said. It feels like a rock, it's so heavy. I said, I'm going to open it up in front of you. And opened it up, and it was a rock. And, so, there was a note to it with it. He said, we came down to your place last week and we took this rock from down the waterfall. We felt so guilty about it since they sent it back through the post. £10 postage.